Hi everyone, it's Stephanie Weaver here in the Blue and Yellow Kitchen in San Diego, California, where cooking meets culture. Today my guest is Lindsay Navama. Hi Lindsay, welcome.
Hey Stephanie, thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely, and so Lindsay's book is this beautiful book, Hungry for Harbor Country. Lindsay, tell us where Harbor Country is. So first of all, we know geographically where we are.
So Harbor Country is in Southwest Michigan. It's located just about an hour and a half outside Chicago. You drive through Indiana, and then just as you cross the Michigan border, it's right there. It's comprised of 8 tiny towns, they say, on one great lake. And it's a really magical place. A lot of people that live in Illinois have maybe lake houses out here. And it is rural in terms of the tiny little towns, but it's also located in Berrien County, which has one of the second most diverse produce grown in the whole United States. So that's very interesting. And Condé Nast Traveler actually named Southwest Michigan, where Harbor Country is located, one of the top 20 places to travel in 2020 in the whole world.
Wow. And
that was awesome for us, right? But it really is, I think, just coming into its moment of being a place that more people throughout the nation will want to visit, not just those in the Midwest.
That's awesome. So right now I've opened the book to the unexpectedly delicious kale salad, which is what we're making today. And we inadvertently allowed Daisy the Golden Retriever to have a squeaky toy. So that's going to be happening in the living room while we're doing this. So, usually we take all the squeaky toys away from her and just give her balls, but one must have escaped.
At least she's having fun.
She's having fun. We're having fun. So yeah, this is a home-based show. So this is what happens. So what I loved about this, I didn't know about the Condé Nast Traveler naming Harbor Country as one of the top places to travel, and of course that was pre-pandemic, but it's recipes and entertaining and lifestyle, and it really is a beautiful escape right now. So if you're needing an escape, this would be a great book to buy, just to read the stories and to really just kind of feel like you're getting away. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on the kale salad, and then we'll have you talk a little bit. So walk us through the dressing, because what we're going to do is, so we've got some curly kale, and I've got most of it prepped, and then I've got one piece that I was going to show them that we strip the stems off, the leaves off the stems, and tear it into small pieces. Now, why do you choose curly kale for this salad? Is there a specific reason, Lindsay?
Yeah, so there was actually 2 reasons. The primary reason was that in Michigan, in Harbor Country, there's this amazing vertical farm that's owned by a father and son, and they grow the most incredible kale that I've ever had in my life, and it was curly kale, and that is the kale that I used to make this salad. So being true to the roots of Harbor Country, I chose curly kale. But also, I prefer using curly kale than I do like a dinosaur kale in salads, because it's almost like the little nooks and crannies that are created by the curliness kind of gather the dressing a little bit better for me than maybe a dinosaur kale. And you sort of a pasta that's a corkscrew, it's going to really hold the sauces in all the little places.
Perfect. And that's what I assumed, but I didn't want to assume. So I'm going to go ahead and zest the lemon. So you can use champagne vinegar or lemon juice for this dressing. Is that right?
Yeah, either one. And that's what I list in my book. But I'm also a very flexible cook. And so if you only had apple cider vinegar, if you had red wine vinegar, any acid will do, just in the amount that I recommend.
Great. Okay. All right. So I got my lemon zest in there. Now I'm going to juice my lemon.
Great.
And so I've got this really pretty antique juicer, which I love. I love
those
using.
Are the best. They work so well.
They work really well, and they're just so pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then and it does sound like Daisy's having quite a good time with the toy back there. So, some days it's our chimes on the porch that are loud. Some days we have the woman with the Harley who is leaving for work. And then some days we have Daisy doing her best with her squeaky toy. So
it's life, right? We know that there's things going on, even though we're in pandemic.
There are things going on for sure. The other thing I wanted to mention about the kale stems is I went to a presentation a couple years ago, and they had done research, and almost all the potassium, about 80% of the potassium, is in the stem of the kale. So what I like to do is I thinly slice it, very, very thin, and then I freeze it and I throw it into stir fries, or we have it like a vegetable hash every morning, and that way you're not losing that really great benefit of that delicious potassium in those stems. But it's not ideal for a salad like this, because you do want the leaves to be really tender. And I know
that's a great tip though, because I did not know that, and I don't think most people could know, or, would know that. I think probably you could also like throw them in a morning smoothie or something like that, the stems, right, if they're frozen.
For sure, absolutely. And I would actually, so kale is a lot more bioavailable, the nutrients, if it's been cooked. So this is going to be partially cooked from the action of the acid and the salt. But for a smoothie, I would maybe just like nuke the stems for a minute or two, just to start to get them a little bit very bright green, and then you're combining them with some kind of healthy fat. You're getting a lot more of that, those nutrients are going to be available to your body in that way. Okay,
that's great.
So I'm going to put my kitchen gloves on, my food prep gloves, because I'm going to be massaging. And one thing you don't have to wear gloves, but if you have any tiny little cuts on your fingers, you will soon discover where they are if you're massaging with lemon juice.
That's true.
So how much
hangnail, anything.
Any hangnail, which I always have. So how much walnut oil am I using?
So the walnut oil, you are going to be using 2 tablespoons of whatever nut oil. So if you're using walnut, hazelnut, almond, pistachio, and the nut oil, you could of course use olive oil, but it won't give your salad that same like amazing nutty flavor. Nut oils are something I splurge on because and you're not going to cook with them, right? You're using them very sparingly, so they last a long time. But yeah, they're so delicious. They give it just a warmth.
Great. And then I had pre-warmed my teaspoon of honey in order for it to be nice and runny, and apparently I turned it into syrup. So I'm remeasuring it straight from the jar right this second, and then I'm going to do like a little whisking action with my dressing. So I've got the salt in there, the red pepper flakes, and the honey, the walnut oil, and the lemon juice. Just did a little whisk, and I'm pouring it over just the kale to start. So we differ in this. So this is not exactly how your recipe's written. So your recipe's written where you put the fennel and the other ingredients in, and you kind of toss with your hands together. But we talked about why I was going to do this. What's your take on the massaging of the kale? You like to kind of have it a little bit more raw?
So no, it's not that I like it more raw. So yeah, we think alike in that, like if you're using kale in a salad and it's raw, it should be massaged with whatever dressing you're using, and that's in my head note, right? That you want to massage it. In this, it's like sometimes I'll do that to the kale prior to adding any of the other goodies, like the fennel, whatever, the beans, whatever that might be. In this salad particularly, the dressing is very mild and light, so I wanted to massage everything all together. And when I dress a salad, I do usually use my hands, especially a kale salad. And so I wanted the dressing to get all over the fennel and the chickpeas and all the things. But you could easily do the kale in advance, especially, if you really wanted to maybe let it kind of marinate in that dressing a little bit longer and then add the other items. You could totally do that.
Great. So I want everybody to watch as I'm doing this. So it's already, so when I started, it was completely full, like overflowing in the bowl, and it's already down by about a half, I'd say. I'm going to keep massaging, and I want you to tell us a little bit about the genesis of the book, what inspired you, kind of how you hope readers will use it while I'm just going to be massaging over here for a little bit.
Sure, yep, go massage away. So the book, I'd always wanted to write a cookbook. I have a long history of just loving food and cooking, and I had worked as a recipe developer and like a private chef, and hosted some food shows and so forth. And then I took sort of a hard left, and I went into tech sales with my husband in a company that we'd started, and I was selling technology to food and beverage brands for 5 years. And at the end of that, when I was going to do something else, I thought I'm going to take this moment to write a cookbook kind of off the side of my desk as I ended that portion of my career. And I knew I wanted to write a cookbook, and I thought, who will buy this book? I haven't spent 5 years building a social media following. I've been working in tech. And then I realized that this place in Harbor Country, both David, my husband, and I discovered it when we were kind of in a transition in our lives, and it fed our bellies as much as it fed our souls. It really just helped us realize that we were really hungry for community. We had both lived in Los Angeles and then downtown Chicago, and when we discovered this place, I grew up in Lake Tahoe, which is a small lakeside town, and everyone knew everyone at the grocery store, and this place in Michigan is very much like that. And I just kind of felt like I had come home, and it inspired me to write this book because we had hosted people almost every weekend the first summer we had our home in Harbor Country, almost like a little bed and breakfast, and I got back into the kitchen and I just rediscovered my passion for food. So the majority of the book is based around the magical moments that you'll have at a lake house, right? So that might be your entertaining guests, or it's like a slow and lazy Sunday morning, and you want to do some pancakes and a cozy mug of coffee on your screened-in porch. And right now, as people are living in a pandemic, like you said, this is a great escape book, but this book was also this food is fun. I made this food when I was kind of at peak happiness, which was the first summer here, living sort of an adult summer camp life. And I think you can taste when the chef was in a good place and they're making their food. And so I recommend this book to anyone who, maybe you're not living the lake life at the moment, but wherever you are, these recipes are celebratory, and it's just fun food to make and enjoy.
That's great. And certainly a lot of them are outdoor recipes, so if you're doing distance outdoor backyard stuff, there's a lot of cooking over the coals and grilling and things like that. And certainly it's a seasonal book as well. So there's and I love that you actually mentioned the specific purveyors in your area, but of course anywhere in the country you have farmers markets, you have artisan farms, you have artisan food products being produced. And so while these the things that are mentioned are specific to southwestern Michigan, you certainly can live the lifestyle. And so, with that said, so one of the things that you call for is goat milk cheddar, which I had not actually ever had or looked for, but I did find some. So this is Meyenberg, which is what is sold here. And what brand do you have? You have some there, right?
Yeah, so I have this, it's Natural Valley goat cheese, and it was shocking, and I think I mentioned this in my story in the book, how much goat cheese is available out here in Southwest Michigan. They have all different types of cheese, from the regular chèvre to brie to Munster, and so this is Natural Valley, and let's see, I think it's made in Wisconsin, so right up the road.
There you go.
But it's becoming more prevalent. A lot of people, like my husband, can't have cow dairy, but he can have goat and sheep. And so this is a great substitution.
Great. So I'm going to show off how nicely massaged and bright green that kale looks.
That's beautiful.
So, and you can see that it's gone down by at least a half in terms of volume, and that's when you have that bright green texture and it's a lot softer, you've kind of massaged it enough. So then we've got our fennel, which has been diced, so fennel bulb and also the stems. I'm tossing those in there, and then we've got some of the fennel fronds from the top, so you kind of have the the herbaceous part of the fennel and the bulb part, some fresh dill, and the shallot. So this is a tip that I learned from a chef. If you're going to be serving a raw, like red onion or raw shallot, and that flavor is too strong for you, because I'm like a super taster, so some of these things, they're just too much bite, you can pre-soak it in ice cold water, and then it will actually mellow out that flavor a little bit. So it may change the intention of her recipe a little bit, but it works better for me. And if you're sensitive to that, that's a good tip to have. And how is it? 3 tablespoons of the raw shallot, of the minced shallot, Lindsay?
Of the shallot, it is 3 tablespoons minced.
Okay.
Yep. And how long would you soak it for if you did want to mellow that out, Stephanie?
About 10 minutes.
Okay.
Is plenty.
Great.
And then you just drain it really well. And then you've got that. And then we've also got, so I was always now in a hurry shopping, right? Because you're in there, you're trying to get everything and get out. And I saw these and thought they were crispy chickpeas, which is what her recipe calls for, the ranch flavor or another type. And I grabbed them, and then when I opened them this morning, I was like, those are not chickpeas, those are broad beans. But so they're not exactly what she called for, but it's this nice textural crunch that we're going to throw in there. And then so do I toss it with the cheese, or do I put the cheese on at the very end?
You can just toss it all together. Yeah, that's how I sprinkle the goat cheese, the fennel fronds, dill, red pepper, chickpeas over the kale, and then you can toss it all together. I like to make sure I socialize my salads, and so even though, like, sometimes I'll sprinkle a bunch of cheese or something on top before I serve it so it's more beautiful, but I find that if I don't toss it all together, like, I want everyone to get everything in almost every bite. So throw the cheese in there and toss it all together there.
Very good. Right, and so if you've never had fennel before, fennel has a kind of a licorice anise flavor. It's a really, you may have had the seed in something, or you may have had it, that seed in Indian food. But I sort of became accustomed to fennel when I lived in Chicago because it's very commonly used in Italian cooking, and there's a big Italian community. It was the first time I ever had it and really understood how cool it was. If you hate the taste of licorice, probably not going to love fennel, but it has the texture of celery, so it's a really nice, fresh, crispy bite. So for a salad, very refreshing. So I'm super excited to taste this. I have not made this before, so I'm really excited. So I just want to show you, real time. I think I did a pretty good job of mixing it all together. So I'm going to serve some up, and then I will move the bowl out of the way, and I will bring it over to the camera so you all can see how pretty this salad is and all the yummy goodness that is in here. Really, really does look super tasty. All right, so there we go, camera. Doesn't that look delicious? I'm super excited about it. All right, so time for tasting. And so is there anything else you want us to know about your book that we didn't already talk about while I'm giving this a taste?
Well, people have actually commented almost more so on the stories throughout the book than the recipes themselves. A lot of people I know don't really cook, and if they do, they're sick of cooking right now. But more people give this book as like a gift, or they just buy it as a delicious read, because every single recipe has a story. So you can kind of, I don't know how you can see, but like this is the pancake recipe, and we am very proud of my pancakes. So each of the stories has kind of a fun, whimsical, just funny title. And so yeah, it can be like a great coffee table book, not just a gift for someone that loves to cook, but anyone that kind of appreciates the idea of living the lake life, which to me just means wherever you are, taking time to slow down a little bit, make something from scratch, and enjoy it over a lengthy afternoon on the porch, something like that. So the book is really both things.
That's awesome. Well, it is unexpectedly delicious, this kale salad, and I am a fan of the kale salad. One of the things we talked about before the show was that a lot of people don't like kale, and we both feel that that's because you haven't had kale that's been prepared properly. So
you had kale the wrong way.
You had the kale the wrong way, and it can be pretty brutal if it's not prepared properly. So if you're going to be serving it raw, having it in this massaged version really breaks it down, softens it, gives it this lush color, really brings out a flavor. If you have, like I have a kale salad on my website that if you massage it with a particular kind of oil, it ends up smelling almost like bananas. And then you can add, in that particular salad has mango, fresh mango, and coconut. So it's more of a tropical flavor. So this is definitely more of a savory flavor. I loved the crunch of the bean snack. The hot pepper's not too spicy. I loved the integration of the cheddar in there. It's very lovely. And then that combination of the dill, the fennel, and the kale is just a really nice combination. So good job. This is an excellent salad. I will be making it again.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that's my go-to when I get invited to dinner. Someone's like, can you bring that kale salad? You know that one? And that's why I had to put it in here. Because awesome. You read the recipe and it kind of you would pass it by. That's why I named it Unexpectedly Delicious. Yes. Because it is.
Yeah, and I was glad to feature it because there's many really fun recipes, but because it's the middle of summer here, our hot season is August, September, October, and so I really didn't want to have the stove on or anything. So this was a great choice, and it was lovely to meet you. So we'll have the buy link for the book in the comments. You can follow Lindsay at thirdcoastkitchen.com. Please share this video if you think you have, or tag a friend if you think that they would be interested in learning about the salad or finding out about the book. And then you can follow me, S. Weaver MPH, on social media. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all again soon in the Blue and Yellow Kitchen. Bye.